Hey everyone, my name is Sheena Yapchan. Hope you're having a fantastic day and enjoying the conference. Super excited to be here, and today's talk I'll be talking about why the right security signals don't drive decisions. So I hope you enjoy today's presentation, and I'm just going to quickly share the screen so we can get started and you can be able to gain at least one thing from today's talk. So hope you're having a fantastic day. Hope you've enjoyed some of the earlier talks. Feel free to, share any comments you have. But yeah, let's start. Why the right security signals don't drive decisions. So this is going to be way, way, way less technical. And so I just kind of want to pre-frame that, but let's get started. So an opening thought, we like to think security failures come from something missing, whether it's a blind spot, a gap, maybe a tool we didn't have. But in many cases, that's not what really happens, right? The signal was there, it was accurate. Sometimes it just didn't turn into action. Something's wrong, and then sometimes, you just leave it thinking someone else might solve the problem. So it's not about having the right tools. You do have the right tools to signal something's wrong. It's what happens after that. So this is so important. The real problem, most breakdowns don't happen at detection, they happen after. Again, you see it, you see something is wrong, and then sometimes you just see the signal and don't do anything after. And then once something dire happens, that's when you start acting. So, it's between alert to escalation, escalation to decision, and then decision to action. That's where things stall. So it is important to when you see that signal, when you see something's wrong, it's important to act on it as right away, right? Because of course we want to make sure we solve it earlier than, waiting it out and it becomes worse. It's kind of like as a kid, when you do something wrong, you try to hide it. And the more you hide it, the bigger it gets. And then when your parents find out you did something wrong, it's a lot bigger than when you first, just said it out loud. Yes, you'll still get in trouble, but it won't be as bad. And then you can fix it right away. So what is this talk? What this talk is about and isn't about? So this is not about buying better tools, tuning alerts, increasing volume. You already have the technology to do that. This is really about why good signals get ignored, why escalation fails, and why technically correct often isn't enough. So it's really about, being able to be alert, taking action, utilizing your intuition, putting yourself, being able to be able to spotlight what is wrong, what needs to be fixed. Because again, you can have the best systems in the world, you can have the best tools, but if you don't act on it, nothing happens, and it becomes a bigger expense for everybody. So here's a familiar scenario you might have gone through. You've seen this before. An alert fires, it looks real, it's investigated, it's even documented, and still nothing happens. So if you've ever been there, don't worry, you're not the only one. It only becomes a thing when it becomes an incident, when it's too late, or when the problem becomes bigger. So what went wrong? It's not the signal, it's the system around the signal. It's what happens after you've been signaled the problem, right? Do you take action? Do you let it slide? Or do you just assume someone else is going to do it? So these are, I've spoken at many different tech conferences, being able to see they have some of the best software, some of the best things that they have, and, they still go through a lot of problems because they don't take into account how to utilize it properly or even talk about maybe there's something missing or even giving the right instructions. It's kind of like a similar thing. So I will go through each and every one of that. So again, we're going to talk about the system around the signal. Do you have a system in place when the signal comes up, or do you just leave it? So here's some of the places where the signal breaks down. So here's some common failure points. One is alert fatigue, prior false positives, unclear ownership, this is a big one, role perception, not my call, we've also gone through that, and limited access to decision makers. None of these are technical problems if you see this, right? These are all human error problems, and it's fine, right? We all go through mistakes, it's not a big deal, but being able to be aware of these problems, we can find solutions through it. So alert fatigue, when everything feels urgent but really nothing is, right? Even strong signals still get delayed, downgraded, and ignored. So it's not because people don't care, but because they're overloaded. They're doing something else. There's another project. And especially in tech, you're always on a time crunch, on a deadline. So I totally get it. Next, the memory of false positive. Sometimes past experience shape present decisions, right? If something used to be noise, people are going to assume it still is, right? If they realize that, it wasn't urgent back then, it won't be urgent now. So even though they think it's not urgent, it really is, because each situation is different. What happened in the past may not happen in the present. So each and every situation may be different. Role perception, right? People don't act outside what they believe is their role, right? They may escalate it, but they don't decide on the action. They investigate, but they don't push that it needs to be done. So signals move, but you're still stalling. You're still at a barrier. What happens when you escalate? Who's going to decide to move forward? When you investigate, who's the one pushing it? So it is important to also have clear roles for each person. And sometimes you just have to be super clear, right? Because not everyone assumes that they're going to take on that action or even go out there and do it. So ownership gaps. It's also, if it's not clear who owns the decision, no one owns the risk, right? So because of that, the signal sits in queues, tickets, and Slack threads, waiting for clarity that never comes. So if no one takes ownership on what to do, nothing happens. And then again, it becomes a bigger problem than it should have been. And then it creates a lose-lose situation for everybody. So all these little things, just tweaking it, can make a huge difference, can save a lot of money, can create win-win situations. And these are things that we're unaware of because of just small little things that we can tweak out for sure. Access to decision makers. Even when someone knows something is wrong, they may not have the authority, the visibility, or the path to escalate effectively. So because of this, the signal never reaches the level where action happens. So those were some of the things that may be common failures. If that's something you've gone through before, you're not the only one. I've seen many companies, many, tech industries that go through this. So, after learning all that, what is the core insight? Security is not just about detection, it's about translation. It's about what happens after you signal that there could be a problem, there could be a breach. So, it's turning signal into meaning into urgency, and then taking action to correct it. And that translation is human. So, it's not having the best technology, having the best software, because you already have that. It's what happens after. So why being right isn't enough. You can be technically correct, logically sound, fully validated, and still be ignored. Because decisions aren't made on accuracy alone, they're made on perception, context, and trust. And this is so important. And so I want to share with you a framework that I've been sharing throughout different industries, especially in tech, and I call it the Visible Framework. And it's based on 7 pillars, and it's derived from the word visible, and each letter represents something. So V is for voice, I is identity, S is for spotlight, I is inner work, B is belief, L is leverage, E is elevation. And so this is originally built for leadership and influence, but this is still very applicable to the security signal flow. And we're going to go through each one. I just want to give you an overview of this. So let's start with V for voice. How is the signal communicated? Is it clear? Is it confident? Is it framed in business impact? This is so important. Or is it buried in technical detail? Not everyone can understand technical language. If you gave me a technical term, I'm going to tell you I probably won't understand what you're saying. So it is important to be clear, to be framed in the outcome that happens. And when you have a weak voice, the signal is ignored. So it is important to be clear and confident. So again, make sure if the signal you're communicating is it clear, confident, and frame in business impact. So sometimes you have to communicate it in a language that the other person can understand. I is for identity. How is the person delivering the signal perceived? Are they seen as credible, experienced, or trusted, or just another analyst? Signals are filtered through identity. So be able to, figure that out. S is for spotlight. This is important, right? What gets attention gets action. So if your signal is competing with other noise, lost in dashboard, buried in queues, are they clearly highlighted? If it's not visible, of course, nothing happens, right? So it is important to make spotlight on the security signals that you have so it can be escalated, take action, and be corrected right away. I is for inner work. What assumptions are shaping decisions, right? Some we don't know what other people are thinking, and sometimes there's a maybe miscommunication because no one communicates. So if these are the assumptions they have, then nothing's going to happen. So things like, this is probably nothing, we've seen this before, I don't want to overreact. These quiet thoughts can shape the outcome. So it's really important to be upfront, to be clear, so we don't go through these assumptions. B is for belief. Does the organization believe the risk is real? So if leadership doesn't believe in it, how do you expect everybody else to believe in it? So if they don't believe that the threat is real, then it does, the and the, if they don't believe that the threat is real or it matters or the impact is serious, then nothing follows. So it is important to put that belief, yes, this isn't a necessary thing to fix right away, because if not, it becomes a negative impact on everybody. So it is important to build that belief. L is for leverage. Does the signal have a path to influence, right? Can it reach to the right decision makers? Does it have a clear escalation route? Does it connect to business risks, right? Sometimes it's just asking the right questions to get the right answers. And so if you weren't aware about these, then of course nothing happens. So if you have no leverage as well, nothing happens, right? There's no movement. Of course, if it doesn't reach to the right decision makers, how can you get it to escalate and then turn it to take action on it so you can fix it? So it is important to have these questions to find the right answers so that you can get the signal done and done properly and done at the earlier the better. And then E is for elevation. Can the signal rise to the right level, or does it get stuck? It gets stuck in tooling, in process, or in middle layers. So elevation is what turns awareness into action. So yes, it's important to have awareness, but if you don't take action, nothing happens. It's still the same thing. Nothing moves, and then it becomes a bigger problem than it should have been. So these are really important, and going through this framework really helps you get to the right questions so you can get the right answers and start implementing it. So let's put it all together. So when the signal fails, here's some questions that you can ask. Was it heard? So that's the voice pillar. Was it trusted? That's the identity part. Was it seen? Spotlighting it. Was it interpreted correctly? Inner work. Was it belief? So belief. Could it influence? Leverage. And did it reach the right level? Elevation. So putting it all together, you can have a really great system of what happens after you have that signal. It can help you take action. It can solve the problem a lot quicker, and it minimizes more costs, more troubles in the long run. So here's a practical diagnostic lens. So again, it's all about how you ask the questions, right? It's not, instead of asking, why didn't we catch this? Start asking, where did the signals lose momentum, right? So when you can pinpoint where you lost momentum, then you can course correct it and have a better way of doing things. That's where the real fix is. And so what this changes, you don't need more alerts, louder escalations, more tools. You need a clearer signal flow, better translation, and strong decision pathways. So again, this is all not technical. This is all human. When you're able to communicate better, identify better, leverage better, build belief, not have assumptions, and really have a clear path to taking action, it becomes a win-win situation for everybody. So here's some key takeaways. Most failures happen after detection. Human and organizational factors shape the outcomes. Accuracy alone doesn't drive decisions, and signal flow can be diagnosed and improved. So again, little tweaks to improve the flow to have not only a signal, but having an action path to treating the signal or to fixing the signal. And so here's my final thoughts. The goal isn't just to detect the risks, it's to make sure the right signals actually lead to action. Again, if you don't take action on it, nothing happens and it becomes a bigger problem. So because a perfect alert that goes nowhere is still a failure. So again, I hope this was, just kind of a little bit eye-opening, just to see like small tweaks can make a big improvement. And again, once you have the signal, it is important to figure out what happens after that. Who takes ownership? Who's going to escalate it? Who's going to take it to the right decision makers? This is all, part of us, right? As humans, we can do this. We can move forward. Again, you can have the best technology in the world, the most alerts that you have, the more signals, but if you don't take action on it, nothing happens, and it becomes, a big cost for everybody else. So I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. If you'd like to connect with me, here is my barcode that you can scan. It goes to all my social media, my websites, my books. And if you would like a copy of this presentation, just go to this link, shinayapchan.com // presentations, and you can enter your contact info, and I will have this copy sent to you directly to your inbox. So again, I really hope you had a great I hope you really enjoyed this presentation. It's short but impactful, and I hope this kind of help you see things from a different perspective, see things that, it's not always just technical. It could also be from being able to communicate better, being able to um, show up better, being able to pinpoint what needs to be treated or what needs to be spotlighted to move forward. So again, my name is Sheena Yapchan. I hope you enjoy the rest of the virtual event, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.